Welcome back to the Black Hills Insider. Today we are joined by MiKayla Boswell, the owner of Beards and Shears, and she has lived all over the world and finally landed back here in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. So, MiKayla, since you've lived all over the world, what's the craziest and most surprising place you've called home before landing here in the Black Hills?
Well, the one that I think surprises most people is Turkey, but I don't remember anything about living in Turkey. My dad joined the Air Force. That was his first station. That's where I was born. A war kicked off and they evacuated. At least that's the story I've been told, right? And so they sent us all back to the States. So that's the one that surprises people the most, the kind of craziest one, I suppose. But
Wait, how old were you when you moved back?
two, I think I was two.
Okay, so you probably really don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about it. Yeah.
Did you live anywhere else overseas?
We lived in England for 3 years, and I do remember a lot of that. Of course, being a little girl in England where there's real castles and like the princesses. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that one stands out a lot. I've got great memories from England. I feel like I remember probably a lot more than what most people would at that age. Um, yeah, so those were the two places that we lived overseas, but I've traveled internationally. uh, Two handfuls of times maybe. When we lived in England, we would take vacation to Scotland and to Ireland.
So jealous.
It was
Ireland is on my bucket list.
Oh, you
for
have to
sure.
go. It's well, from what I remember, anyways, right?
Right.
It's pretty incredible. But we went to an English school, so it was year round. And they
Really?
didn't give us a ton of break. Like we didn't get a summer holiday or whatever. So we would just like get on a ferry and we'd go to Scotland for a week and then come back and go to school, and we'd switch it up every other year, going back and forth between the two.
So did you have like a lot of breaks in between school or?
Yes and no. I think we had a lot of breaks, but they weren't like a chunk of time either. You know what I mean? Like a couple days here and there.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
At
And then,
least from what I remember, right? Like that.
right,
I can't say for certain.
as we get a little older, things start to get a little foggy. That's amazing. So what brought you from Texas back to South Dakota? And be honest, did the first winter make you question that decision?
Not at all. Not at
Really?
all. So having lived in Dallas, right? It's humid. It gets cold. The snow's not really a thing, but there's ice. We got a lot of ice.
Right.
But it wasn't anything like here, obviously. But England it snows, right?
Yeah.
And we lived in Ohio for a chunk of time and it snows there. So I've always loved the winter. I've always loved the cold. The heat in Texas was a lot, and I was a really grumpy person in the summertime there. I hate it. I hate it.
Yep.
So the first winter here wasn't anything crazy to me, but I had visited my mom when she lived in Moorcroft, Wyoming over the spring
Okay.
break that my boys had. So they were spending spring break with their dad. And I went to visit my mom, and we had this blizzard while I was there, and we got snowed in and it was crazy. But I think it was maybe 20 degrees outside, maybe, but I was outside in a t-shirt because
Yeah.
the sun makes a huge difference out here. It's not quite as hot as people think it is. Or I'm sorry, as cold as people think
Right,
it is.
right.
When the sun comes out, it's really pleasant.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. I know when I lived in Florida, everybody would make fun of me because when it was like 50 degrees in Florida, they're like, "Oh, I bet you think this is nothing coming from South Dakota." And I was like, "Oh no, it is freaking cold out because they have like 100% humidity
Right.
and it makes it feel so much colder." And the same can be said in South Dakota. If you're East River,
Yeah.
50 degrees
Yeah.
feels a lot different than 50 degrees West River, South Dakota,
Absolutely.
because we don't have the humidity like East River does.
Right.
So I think that's like a common misconception around people is that they think that it's so bitter cold here,
Mhm.
and not that we don't have days where it's just miserable. Don't
It's
get me wrong.
miserable.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But that humid cold,
For sure.
that bites.
Yeah. Agreed.
It burns.
Well, I have a cousin who lives in Salt Lake, Utah, and
Yeah.
she and her family had come out to visit one New Year's. And I think it was in the negatives those couple of days that she was here. And we went and saw Devil's Tower, and we did the Badlands and Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore and all of the things. And she was even saying, like, this is a different kind of cold. But once you get past that temperature,
Right.
where it's like it truly is just cold with the wind, especially, that wind will cut right on through you. But
Absolutely.
thankfully, I have a job where I can work inside.
I know,
And I'm outside to go to my car, and that's it.
we might have a different outlook if we were outside workers all the time.
I think so.
I will say that is the worst part about real estate in the winter is trying to get there early to shovel off sidewalks and make sure that your clients don't have to walk through.
Oh, I'm
tedious
so
stuff.
sure.
And I'm like, thankfully my husband comes with me. So I'm spoiled. All right. So, for those who haven't met you yet, give us the short version of who you are and what Beards and Shears is all about.
Okay. Well, I am MiKayla. I am a single mom of two boys, currently 16 and almost 13. Both of them are pretty darn active in extracurriculars and sports and things like that. Um, Beards and Shears is a hair cuttery. I cut hair and beards.
I've always wondered, I'm like, do we call you a hairstylist or a barber? Because, like, I feel like a barber's a dude, but, like, you do
Right.
barber services. So,
Okay,
like, are
listen.
we calling you a barbette? Like, what do we call you?
I actually kind of like Barbette.
I love
I
that.
don't think that's an actual term, but I think I'm gonna start.
I think we should get you a name tag.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Okay, so here's the secret, and there's some people that know this, and there's a lot that don't, and I kinda try to keep this on the down low, but, I'm not oh, I'm having a hard time saying it out loud. I'm not a licensed barber. I am a licensed cosmetologist.
Okay.
I graduated cosmetology school in Ohio in 2008. Did the full service stuff for a hot second, maybe 2 or 3 years, and didn't love it at all.
Right.
So then I started working at kind of like a male catered salon and have been trained under barbers and things. So I've been licensed, like I said, since 2008, and since probably about 2011, I've been primarily focusing on men's grooming.
Yeah.
So I'm not a barber, but it's 2026. We identify with what we want, right? So I
Right.
identify as a barber, but
Heck
I'm
yeah.
definitely not a barber.
See, and I think that honestly, the average person probably doesn't even know the difference between the
Right.
two. And so I don't think it really matters. But
Yeah.
I know I've tried to get you to color my hair and you tell me no all the
No,
time.
ma'am. Oh, good.
Which
Appreciate
is
ya.
probably good because there's so many chemicals that are in that.
Yeah,
So, like, overall, I would say you're probably a lot healthier just cutting some hair
I would
instead of being
imagine.
around all those
Although I
chemicals. And
do like to think about how much hair I've ingested, like eating it or inhaling it. Although it's organic, right? It's just hair, but
right.
I do think about that all the
I
time.
know. I guess I never even thought of that. But as someone who's got really thick hair, anyways, I eat enough of my own. So I can't imagine having somebody else's fly around.
I had a chunk of wet hair land directly on my eyeball a couple weeks ago, and I don't know how it got around my glasses, but it did, and I'm not kidding, directly on my eyeball. So for the 17, however many years I've been doing this, 18 something, I've never had that happen before. That was the first for me, and that was wild.
Like, I would have loved to have been in the place at that time to watch you be like, "Oh my god."
And I'm like trying to not like rub it, right? Because then it's just spreading. Oh God, it was
You don't wanna
something.
mess your makeup up either.
Right.
Like, that's hilarious. Now you're gonna have to keep some contact solution nearby so you
That's
can
the
just, like,
truth.
wash it.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, now that I know that it's possible.
That's funny. So, you are an owner and a solo barber. What inspired you to open your own shop instead of working under somebody else?
Well, I have obviously worked for a lot of the corporations and the chains and things like that. So, I was an assistant manager at a location in Frisco, Texas, and was barely working. And this was just because of what my hours I was available to work because kids and things.
Right.
So I was barely getting 33 hours, although that was the minimum requirement for an assistant manager. So getting the minimum hours I could. And then I got promoted to manager and then I was salary. Therefore, you work way over 40.
Yep.
And I had done the math on it. And for I can't remember exactly what it was, 50, probably 45 to 50 hours a week versus the
Yeah.
33. Obviously, that means an obscene amount more heads of hair to cut.
Mhm.
But then just the office work and things like that. So, anyways, did the math on it, and I made, I think it was like $250 more for the year, working
Right.
all of those extra hours and doing all of those extra haircuts. And I'd have some girlfriends that I'd worked with who went off and started their own deal. And I went in and said hello to them one day. And I watched one of the gals just kind of pocket the money. And she's like 20, 30 minutes later, she's done and she just puts it in her pocket. And I'm like, whoa, you made all of that just now within that amount of time.
Right.
And so it kind of clicked like, well, I obviously there's overhead, but I'm not getting an hourly rate. Well,
Right.
to an extent I am, but I'm not paying
Right.
the big people or
And you're not paying
whatever.
booth rent because even if you
Exactly.
did work under somebody else, oftentimes, sometimes you still have to pay booth rent,
Right. Right.
so
Well,
yeah.
yeah, you still pay your rent
Yeah.
essentially for your space, but I'm not paying rent on top of
Right.
someone else's. So anyways, that's why I started working for myself was I saw how easy it was to make the same. Oh, and that was the other thing. So I was working half the hours now at that point from when I was a manager, making the same amount of money and doing half the work.
Right.
So that's why I started working for myself. But I am not gonna lie, I don't think in this industry I'll ever go back to working for someone else. You get cozy, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
for sure.
there's some cushions and there's some stresses. Of course, owning your own business, you're married to it. You don't really ever get a day off.
Yep.
But but there's a lot of flexibility that's allowed with it as well.
Exactly. You can set your own
Yeah.
hours. You can pick and choose your clients
Mhm.
oftentimes. So, yeah, I love that. And we get to hang out with your dog. And most workplaces would not let you do that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's so
I
true.
love seeing your pups.
Nice. Pretty
Do
great.
you have both of them now with you,
Yeah.
or do you take turns?
No, I take them both now.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, there for a while. It was just one, and
Yeah.
you took turns.
Yeah.
Haven't been in for what now? A couple months?
Yeah,
Maybe
probably
in
so.
again.
Well, I saw Eric. He's starting to curl.
Yeah, he's shaggy. We'll get him in there. So, yeah, full disclosure, sister-in-law is also a cosmetologist. So over Christmas, she did the boys' hair for him,
Understood. Well, I can't be mad
but
if
he
it's
did
family.
not get his
Yeah.
hair, and he is definitely shaggy, and it is not my favorite. I know you said his hair looks good long. I disagree. I should listen to the professional, but I have to look at him every day. You don't.
Valid. That is so real.
How did you come up with the name Beards and Shears?
I'm gonna wrap myself out on this one again
That's
too.
okay.
So my shop, okay, the way that the things were set up in Dallas or in Frisco, anyways, we had a room. So I shared a space with a friend of mine, and shout out Erica. And our room had to have a license
Yeah.
for like the space, right? But then we each had our own individual mini salon licenses or management licenses or whatever. So our room was called Beards and Shears, and then her section was Styles by Erica, and mine was Dope Domes.
Oh,
So when I
nice.
moved out here, the demographic is insanely different, and I didn't think that Dope Domes would be the most appropriate.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah. Yeah.
We could go on a tangent there,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah, big one. Went on one recently actually with someone about it with my email address. But anyways,
I
um,
literally as you said dope domes, I was like, I wonder if that's where her email
yes,
came.
it sure is. Yeah. So, anyways, I just went back to Beards and Shears because it was pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's not barber, it's not salon, it's just beards and shears.
Yeah, and I love it, and I love your logo. You recently redid your logo. It's been
Yeah.
in the last probably year,
Yeah.
year-ish?
Yeah. When I
Yeah.
moved to Spearfish, we kind of revamped it. And
Yeah.
it truly is just a combination of both
Right.
logos. The dope domes, the skull with the
Mhm.
well, it was razor blades actually, but now it's scissors. Was the dope domes and then the beards and shears from here.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So what's your signature haircut or style? The one that secretly judge people by if you don't maintain it right?
That I judge people by if they don't maintain
Yeah.
it right. That's that broccoli haircut.
Oh my gosh. Like, what is up with that?
I
Is that the
don't
new,
know.
like, mullet? Because so, I mean, my kids are all in soccer, and
Yeah.
when we went to an indoor tournament down in Sioux Falls here a few weeks ago, I was like, "What the hell is up with all these kids?" Like, it's really short on the side. I think this.
Yeah,
I'm not a
yeah.
hairstylist, so I think this is what you're talking about. It's super short on the side and like super
Yeah.
curly and like bushy up top.
Yeah. So that I think can look good.
For sure, if they take care of it.
Correct. But
Same.
so many times they're not taking care of it and it looks sloppy in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I complain about with my kids all the time. I know you've heard this from me all the time. I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
care if they keep it long if they're going to take care of it. If they're
Right.
going to take care of it, it just looks like you came out of a cardboard box and you got a child. So
But you
either
work
take
really
care of
hard
it-
for your home.
I know, right? That's awesome. All right, this question you're probably not prepared for, but now I just have to ask it. Are you sad that the mullets are kind of going out of style again, or are you? How do you feel about mullet? I feel like this is a pineapple on pizza conversation
totally
for
is.
everybody else, but
Well, and I'm kind of split. So
Are
the
you-
traditional mullet I think is hysterical and I think it's awesome. It actually was when I first moved out here. I can't remember how old the kid was. I would guess probably 17 to 19 years old maybe, but he told me how practical it is. And once he explained it to me in the summertime, it keeps your neck covered so that it's not getting sunburnt.
Okay.
And then the sweat, it kind of cools things off and whatever else. But then in the wintertime, it keeps your neck warm. And I'm like, that is insanely practical. And it made sense to me then.
Now I might look at mullets a
I
little bit
know.
differently other than like, that's a weirdo.
Yeah. Well, but the modern
I'm sorry
mullet
if you have
I
a mullet.
love. But the modern mullet I really, really, really enjoy. I really like it a lot on most people. I can't think of one person who I've done it on. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't fit you. I really like the modern mullet a lot.
I'm not gonna lie, I did see one mullet and they had like the American flag shaved in the
I wanna
side,
do
and I
that
was
so
like,
bad.
well, maybe we can shave my hair out further and you can like
Don't
in mine.
tease me.
I mean, I said it's gotta go there. So how is barbering in a small town different than big cities where you've lived before?
I love these questions. Um, well, a lot of the reason why I moved here is because after COVID, okay, let me back up. Big city typically is more corporate, right? There's a
Right.
lot more offices, there's suit and ties, there's grooming standard of sorts. And so the reason I moved up here is because when COVID hit in Dallas, it did a dirty number on the industry.
I suppose.
Yeah, because everyone that needed haircuts every 2 or 3 weeks, or even a month for that matter, suddenly just didn't need haircuts anymore because they're all working from home and they're saving money on not getting
Yeah.
haircuts anymore. So that was a big difference is the length of time that goes in between. So of course people up here still get haircuts, but it's not nearly as regularly.
Right.
But the biggest thing that I noticed is that like my clients back in Dallas, almost all of them would want product in their hair after they leave, and nobody takes it up here. I've got so much product on my shelves. I'm like, "Do you want me to throw something in for you before you leave?" And they're like, "No, I'm good. I'm just gonna put my hat back on."
Yeah.
Of course, there's like the teenage boys or like the early 20-year-olds. They'll
Yeah.
sometimes go for it. It's that texture powder, boy. I tell you what.
I was gonna say my kids just got into that texture
Yeah.
powder. The last time we were in, I was like, "Girl, I'm gonna need some of this
Yeah.
because
It's magic though. It really is.
I feel like maybe I should start using some of it."
When my hair was about your length, I did use it, and it
Really?
did give a lot more volume.
Just up top?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna need all the tips because
Yes.
I feel like it's just flatted.
Oh, heck. I think you have too much hair for it to be flat.
You would think so, but if I don't put dry shampoo in and do this little,
Oh.
it just wants to. People are learning way too much.
Yeah.
So, what has been your biggest learning curve running a one-woman shop?
Finding the work and personal life balance. Um,
Yeah.
and I think I've gotten a pretty good handle on it now.
I was going to
Obviously,
say,
there's
looking
work
on the
to it.
outside, I feel like you've got it figured out. Your scheduling,
Girlfriend, it is boundaries.
yeah,
That's a big one that I have learned in the last couple of years. I had zero before. I'd have clients call me at midnight trying to schedule haircuts and would allow it because I mean, I was a single mom, well, am, but then
Yeah.
working 3 jobs, I needed the income. So
right,
declining phone calls or just letting them to go to voicemail kind of felt like I'm missing out on money.
right.
But I've learned that there's a balance and it needs, I mean, it's important.
I'm gonna need some lessons, girlfriend. Really gonna need some lessons. I suppose technology has helped too, because I will say, like, as being in a smaller area, and then moving away to a bigger city and then coming back, I'm like, I miss some of the features that some of the big cities do.
Sure.
So, like, you're one of, I feel like it's coming up more now within the last year or two. But when we started going to you, what, 3 years ago or whatever?
Yeah.
I feel like you were one of the only ones that I could go online and book the damn
Yeah.
appointment
Yeah.
and not have to be like, send an email or try to call in between clients or do this whole back and forth routine. And so,
Sure.
like, that was one thing I really, really appreciated about you is that one, you did take some walk-ins then.
Yeah.
Are you still taking walk-ins?
When I can,
When you
I'm
can?
happy to
You're
if
just
someone
busy.
comes in at the right time and I've got a couple minutes to spare.
Yeah.
But that's
But-
what it is. It's got to be at the exact right time to make it.
Right. Because you're busy and that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's just a testament to how awesome you are.
Sure.
But I think that's great that you have that online scheduling too. And I suppose that does kind of free it up for you to
Oh,
have a little bit more of
1000%.
those boundaries
Oh,
because
for
you
sure.
don't necessarily need to do those.
Well, and so in Frisco, I didn't have an online scheduling thing, and the girls that I'd worked with were telling me that I needed to get on with it. But
Yeah.
I, I'm a huge control freak, and I didn't
No,
like
you
it.
don't say.
Hey, we met. But giving that control to anyone else was scary to me because I would have someone schedule at 9 o'clock and then, I wouldn't have another one till noon. So then when somebody calls and they say, "Hey, when can I get in?" Well, I can get you in at 9:30 because that backs into another appointment.
Mhm.
So I was terrified for that reason because I didn't want to have tons of time in between haircuts. But that's not been a problem. I really don't have that problem. And so giving
Right.
that control up has freed up a lot of headache for me, honestly, and a lot of time off my phone
Right.
and waiting because someone I will offer a certain time to somebody else, but then somebody asks for it. Well, let me wait until I hear back from this person.
It
It was
yeah,
a lot.
a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
I can see that being really annoying,
Yeah.
especially since, like it's some jobs is probably not such a big deal because it's like, it might be an hour or 2 long appointment. Like I'm
Right.
thinking about back when I was with the CPA or even showing houses, like those are 2-hour appointments sometimes, by the time I drive there, show the house, get back. But for you, it's like it's kind of every 15 minutes. So if
Right.
you're trying to do that with every single client, filling those 15-minute slots, I can see how that would be really
Mm-hmm.
annoying.
Mm-hmm. Big time. Yeah.
All right. So, what is the funniest and most unexpected conversation you've had in your chair? And then I did put that maybe we should keep it PG, but I really don't care.
I don't know if there's just one that I can pick. There, it's. Read the question again, would you?
What is the funniest or most unexpected conversation you've had in your chair?
There's a handful of clients that I can think of off the top of my head right now where every time they come in, we have the most insane conversations. And this one that I'm thinking of specifically is, I mean, it's all over the place. It's not ever just about one thing that we just keep going off of. But, um, hmm. Oh, okay. Here's kind of a funny one anyway. A gentleman had come in and I swear every time he came in, he had boogers in his hair. And it was just because he had small kids. And so I'd be like, "Oh, your kids are climbing on you again today?" Just while I'm cutting these little boogers out of his hair. And that's about, well, say.
Oh, well, there's that. No, I used to think your job would be cool, and now I kind of don't envy it. Just kidding.
Yeah.
That would
I
be
can't
tough.
think of one specific conversation that is so crazy because there's it flows. The thing that's kind of interesting though is that it seems like it comes in waves where certain days it doesn't even matter who's in my chair. It could be, somebody from California or somebody that's lived here forever.
Yeah.
And the conversation seems to stay on the same topic, which is really strange. Like there was one day where I talked about steak with 3 or 4 different clients back to back. The first one was telling me like what part of the cow certain cuts come from. And then the next one was telling me, well, you want the ones with this kind of a fat on it. And then the other one was like, well, yeah, but if you take that, you cook it this way. Like it was so bizarre. And it just organically happened that way. It
So
wasn't led.
now you're also Chef Michaela on top of it because you've just
Exactly.
learned so much like useless, but maybe not useless knowledge.
So not useless information because I put that to the test and I have never made a better steak in my life.
Well, girl, you're gonna have to spill the tea now. Because, well, I don't cook very much. You should tell Eric how to cook the steak. No, he's a great cook. I'm just kidding. Don't come at me. All right. So you've lived all over the world. What lessons or perspectives did that give you that influence how you run your business today?
Oh, that's a phenomenal question. Um, the biggest thing that I'd say is probably patience with different types of people.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, I think
Because
that a lot of people out here, and I'm not throwing shade on it by any
no.
means, but a lot of people out here that I've noticed anyways, they kind of stay in their little bubble because it's
Mhm.
comfortable, and I totally, totally understand that. But like an example, there's a really big diverse population in
Mhm.
Dallas, and there's certain cultures, I'll say, that are very different
Mhm.
and can annoy a lot of people.
Right.
But if we were to put ourselves in that country or in that culture,
Right.
we would be the idiots.
Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
having that experience with all different kinds of people from all different backgrounds and all over the world, it really just helps with the patience with it. You don't know where they came from, right?
Right.
We're not all the
100%.
same.
No.
We were not raised the
It
same.
would be such a boring world if we were. That's what I tell people when
1000%.
when someone's like, "Oh my gosh, that person's so annoying." I'm like, "You know what? You need people on both ends of the spectrum. You need people with all different thoughts and viewpoints to have these conversations so that we can come together for the greater good."
Agreed.
Like, so I suppose you do have a really, really good overall understanding of different cultures and different just people and how you can kind of pull that all together. And we're starting to see a lot of people move to the Platinums.
Yeah.
So I suppose that helps you, talk to your clients and stuff like that you can relate to them,
Yeah.
I guess is
Well, and I think another kind of advantage that I have from that experience or those experiences is being able to, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, honestly, but being able to kind of be a chameleon
yeah.
because depending upon, and I think that's a human kind of quality,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
but
I'd have to do the same thing in
oh,
my
for sure.
profession sometimes,
Yeah.
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 And I always talk about it because like anyone who knows me knows that I'm like a drop the F bomb kind of
Yeah.
person. But like depending on who I'm around, there's either a big filter on
Yes.
or there's like, okay, maybe if you let the word shit slip.
Right.
And then there's some clients that are like, they drop the F bomb too. And then you're like, okay, I get to be, myself.
Sure.
So yeah, it's kind of like just almost like different levels of filters, I
Yeah.
suppose, too.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah,
Mm.
I love that. What's something that you appreciate about small town life now that you maybe didn't when you first got here?
These are good. Um, Running into friends everywhere. I I acquaintances, right?
Yeah,
Is more what it is, a professional friendship.
Yeah.
But going to the grocery store or the gas station and getting to run into people that I know and just a friendly hello real quick or hey, good to see you or whatever that looks like. That's so nice. But
It
the
is.
small town
Yeah.
feel, because this is the first place I've ever lived that is truly a small town. It's always been military bases or suburbs or big cities
Yeah.
themselves. Um, but just that it, it the homey feeling, I guess, of it.
Yeah.
It's
It's different, but it's
so
cozy.
different and it is so cozy.
Now be brutally honest with us.
Yeah.
If you had to choose tomorrow, would you choose big city or small town
Small town
all day long?
all day long. All day long. In fact, when I first moved here, I had to talk myself down from hurry, 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 hurry.
Right.
Because that's what it is everywhere else
Hmm.
that I've lived, I should say.
Yeah.
But seeing that, I mean, like the slow pace is so real and so genuine. It's really just it's just slow and it's so nice. And I really had to talk myself into it's okay, MiKayla, take a breath,
Yeah.
take a second, and it feels good. And another thing that I noticed when I first moved out here was um there's a lot of people that I had come into contact with in the city that were habitually angry. And I have not met one person out here that is always angry. And I
Right.
really think there's just nothing to be angry about.
Well, and it's like everybody has a bad day,
Of
but
course.
yeah, like,
But habitually
yeah,
angry or, upset all the time or huffing and puffing or,
I know, right?
yeah.
I've lived in big cities too, and I feel the same way. And it's like, I just feel like people genuinely care more. Like, when you go to the grocery store and someone asks, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah.
It's not just a casual "How are you?" Like they
Correct.
genuinely want to know, and they
Yeah.
genuinely like if you were running on a struggle bus or whatever, like they would step in and help you.
Oh, a
And that's
thousand
something that I
percent.
really appreciate about the small towns versus the
Yes.
big cities.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more support.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I live out in Fruitdale, right? And I don't know exactly what the population is out there. I think our
Like
town
20?
signs I think our town sign says 64, but
Okay, I'll go
probably
fuck off.
50 of those are like right in town and then the rest of them were scattered. But
Right.
but anyways, in small towns like that, I think a lot of people have this idea that everyone's in everyone's business. And while that is probably true to an extent, I
Yeah.
can honestly say that the people in my town, they don't care. They
Right.
really don't. They're not keeping tabs on me and what I'm doing or anyone else for that matter. But I also promise that if I were to ask any of them for help, they would jump on the opportunity to help.
Right. And that there's something to be said for that because like I know I hated Belle Fourche and I was ready to get the heck out of here. I did not want to come back. Like I was never coming back. And then after I went and experienced, it's like you always think the grass is greener on the other
Yeah.
side. And then you realize the grass is actually greener where you water it.
Yes.
And we came back home and I was just like, man, I never thought that people would be so rude, angry, and just
Yeah.
not give two shits about
Yeah.
you in the big cities.
Yeah,
Whereas
it's so
here,
true.
yeah, like I could get, you know, break down on the side of the road and 10 people would stop. I
Mhm.
actually, just to bring this up, I had a client who just left Belle Fourche. They moved to another town.
Mhm.
And her and her daughter, I can't remember if they blew a tire or what happened, but they got stranded on the side of the road. Not one person stopped to help them. And they were like, what the heck? Like,
Nope.
and I don't know if it was because people think like, cell phones are so readily available today or what, but
Yeah.
even knowing that cell phones are readily available, people still stop here
Yeah,
and see what they
absolutely
can
do.
do to help
Yes.
because it could be 2 hours for AARP
Oh
or
my
roadside
gosh, that is the
assistance or
truth.
right.
That is
So
so true.
it's great that people love each other here.
Yeah.
All right. So you've planted roots here in the Black Hills now. What made this feel like home?
I don't know how to explain that.
So, like, can you say that when you first got here, you instantly felt embraced in the community? Because here's the thing I also hear too from just a lot of other clients. I mean, you can shed light on this from an outsider's perspective.
Sure.
Is some people are like, oh, I'm afraid to move to a small town because I'm afraid that they're going to not embrace me. They're going to always look at me as an outsider and they're never going to look at me like I'm a true local.
I
Did
have
you ever
not
feel
felt
that?
that at all. Not one time.
I love that.
Yeah.
See, that's
Well,
what
and when I
makes
first
community
moved here
special.
too, I was working in Spearfish. Um, and it took I mean, it took a little bit of time for me to get comfortable myself, but I think if there
Yeah.
was any kind of a hint of that, it was in my head. Not
Gotcha.
because anyone
Yeah.
actually made me feel that way.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, as people influx, I kind of bring the reason I brought this question up mainly is because I spend a lot of the time in the group. What is it? It's like the South Dakota locals or something like that.
Okay.
And people are like, oh, I'm thinking about moving to South Dakota. And then you see a bunch of South Dakotans, and I'm just throwing us all under the bus right there. You'll see a lot of South Dakotans that are like, "You hate it here. You'll hate it. You don't want to come here. There's so many rattlesnakes. You're going to get bit. Like the weather's so bad. You're going to hate it. And it's like they almost try to like push them away to keep that small town value. So
Right.
I can appreciate that in a sense, but like
Sure.
I don't feel like Belle Fourche does that to people or
I
Spearfish or any of our little
Yeah.
kind of little pocket of the Black Hills. I feel like I'm sure there's a handful of people that are going to be like that in our
Sure.
area, but I feel like overall the community still embraces people who want to come here.
I would say so. Well,
Yeah.
and the thing of that too, though, and this might not sound kind, but if you're contributing, then
Yeah,
bring it.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and that I mean, I think that could be said for anywhere in
Agreed.
the entire United States.
Absolutely.
You don't want someone coming in and taking and taking and taking from your community. We want you to come in and we want you to embrace the community and be a part of it. We don't
Yeah.
want you to just be here and hate where like if you
Right.
hate it here, leave.
Right.
Nobody's forcing you to stay anywhere in this country. I
Sure.
mean,
That's the beauty
it's
of it.
easier to move today than it ever has been in history,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just wanted to hear it from an outsider's
Yeah.
perspective of how you felt when you moved here.
Sure.
All right, so let's move on to the chamber board. What made you want to get involved on that level?
I
Speaking of giving back to the community, walked right into that
Oh,
one.
sure enough. I wanted to be more involved. I wanted to get kind of my feet in to the locals, to people that have been here, that are moving here, um, just to kind of get an insider's look on Belle Fourche, I guess.
Yeah.
Try to give back where I can. I don't know how productive I've been with that. I
Oh,
try, but
stop. So, for anyone who's listening or watching this, we both serve on the chamber
yeah.
board, so I can call her out on her own bullshit.
Well, thanks.
You contribute a lot.
Well,
You make love.
I really want to get. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
you're good.
Thank you. Giving back where I can, because I have always, in the industry that I'm in, I felt like I've always been supported by my clients,
Right.
but it goes past that here. It's not just my clients, it's I mean, truly being the small town, the owners of the grocery stores are neighbors, like,
Yeah.
legitimately.
Yeah.
And so giving back to people that had given in, I think that that's the way it should be, right? Like,
Oh,
again,
absolutely. I
coming
think
in and
so.
giving back to where you can, and that's at least the spot that I felt like I was able to anyway.
Yeah, and to kind of circle back to that point again, I find, because we have our own little Facebook group
Yeah.
at Belle Fourche, and I find that there's a handful of people on there who are very pessimistic about this community.
Mhm.
And I always find that the people who are the most angry
Mhm.
are also the people who I never see on a board or and I'm
Yes.
not saying you have to,
Sure.
But I find that those who actually choose
Mhm,
to give back to the community and get involved in the community
mhm.
tend to be a lot happier in this community. And I feel like
Absolutely.
if some of these people who were so negative about this, because I've had clients message me and say, I don't think Belle Fourche is for me. I just went and joined the locals group and there's some angry people in there. And I'm like, that's just a handful. I was like, literally,
Yeah,
every community is going to have a handful of people who are pessimistic or don't like it.
of course.
But I noticed that as well, that it's always the people who are not involved who
Yeah,
have the loudest voice
yeah,
of hate.
yeah, yeah.
So, um, now tell me, have you done the Leadership Belle Fourche program?
No, no.
No.
I want to so bad, and I miss
You
it.
know, it's on Thursdays, your day off, right?
Listen, Linda,
She's like, hey, thanks for throwing me under the bus. I
it
do need to
seems like
play those
everything
boundaries.
is on my day off. So I was pumped to know that the chamber mixers were being moved
I'm
to
glad you
Tuesday.
were. I will tolerate 1 day a month having to get up early.
It's only for a year, Falina. I did it. You
I
can
know,
do
right?
it.
Fair. All right. So, what changes or improvements do you want to see in like Belle Fourche and Spearfish's business communities? If you could change anything, what would you change?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's okay to say it's fine the way it is.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think that there's a nice balance
Hmm.
between Spearfish and Bell specifically. But of course, those are the two that are neighboring that have amenities anyway, right?
Right. Right.
Well, I mean, Newell and like
Yeah,
there's
we love our little small
of
towns throughout there,
course.
but really, like, it's not like, well, I should take that back because once that grocery store opens in Newell, I'm excited to go back over there and
I
buy my meat.
know.
So I will drive all the way over there just to buy meat
Yeah,
because I feel like they just have really good cuts of meat over there.
sure.
But for the most part,
Yeah,
yes, Spearfish is kind of our shopping hub for
yeah,
this area outside of Rapid.
yeah,
Excuse me, Spearfish is like the shopping hub, and then outside of Spearfish, really, it's Belle Fourche,
yeah,
and that's where most of our shopping is.
yeah.
So it would be nice to see, some things in smaller communities. When's the last time you've been to Newell?
Last year, I suppose. No, 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 no. I go to the gas station out there every now and
Did
again.
you know they have a Dollar General now?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
they are moving on it.
Yeah, but
Like every time I drive by, I'm like, moving on.
that's a nice one too.
I know it
Yeah.
really is. I'm so happy for them that they're kind of getting some shopping too. So, how has being part of the chamber impacted your business?
Um, Getting myself more involved. I am kind of an introvert,
Hmm.
and so that has helped me. Well, of course, okay, so my business is me, right? It's just one
Right.
person, so I'm gonna say me. But it's helped me get out there. It's kind of forced me out of my comfort zone to get out there, to get my face out there, to get the name out there and things like that. And so that's how I would say it's helped.
And it's crazy how you say you're an introvert because, like, I guess we've been maybe just coming together for so long that I don't see you as an introvert. Like,
It's because it's always one-on-one, Felina.
well, that might be, but I don't know.
Someone never mind, I'm not it's not right. I'm just gonna say someone told me I had social autism.
What?
Yeah, which is
Who said that?
hysterical, and I think it's so accurate. Because like, it was this guy that came to put my window he gave me an estimate for my windows,
Okay.
and we were cutting up, and it was so fun, and it was just back and forth in the banter, and it was so fun, and then we'd seen each other out in public, and he's like, "Whoa, you're a completely different person." Like, I just wanted to remove myself and be kind of hidden in the corner,
I guess I
and
can see that about you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like any of the chamber functions, the ones that I'm able to go to when my schedule allows, I
Mm.
will be there. I will
You
say
come.
hello
You
and
always
I'll
come.
be
Yeah.
friendly. And as soon as I'm done, I want to be done and I'm tapped out and I want to go home.
Well, and maybe that's because, like, when you and I get together too, even if we are in public, we kind of just tend to be so loud together.
That's probably true.
I was thinking about when we did the fashion show,
Yeah.
and like if we ever go down to the hitchin post.
Yeah,
Like we're
that's
kind of
fair.
loud together.
Again, matching energies.
Right? So okay, I'll be louder next time. See if you can come up to my level. If someone listening wants to support local barbuses, what the hell? Where did that come from?
Roll with it, girl. Roll with
If
it.
someone listening wants to support local barbers or small businesses like yours, what's the best way that they can show up for you?
um, Tell people.
Do you think it's like liking your Facebook, sharing your posts? Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that, if and maybe they love their hairstylist or they've been going to them for 30 years. They can still like and share your
Oh,
posts. They don't
100%.
necessarily have to monetarily contribute. I think when
Yeah.
people think that they're like, oh, I'm not supporting that business unless I'm shopping there, or I'm not supporting that business unless I can monetarily contribute. I think that's a common misconception. And I think people need to get that out of their head
Yeah.
because it's like you really could just like their Facebook
It's
post,
so
share
true.
it. When somebody asks for a barber, be like, oh, I like this, and
Exactly.
this. You don't
Talk
even
about
have
it,
to say
whether
when.
it's on
Yeah.
Facebook or Instagram or in person, just talking about it, sharing it is a great example of
Yeah,
that. I
absolutely.
don't understand how the algorithms work, but I know that they do.
Oh,
Oh, and leaving reviews.
oh my
In
gosh,
a
yes,
world where
I'm the
reviews are
worst
so
about asking for
important.
reviews.
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel, like, so weird, like, "Please come talk about me on my page."
yeah.
Like, that's how I feel. I hate it.
There was a time that I was working at a company that we were trying really hard to get more reviews,
Yeah,
but obviously we wanted good reviews. And anymore, if you guys don't like it, I mean, obviously I prefer 5 stars, but
right.
be genuine. And if you're
Yeah.
gonna leave a review, be genuine. But we were striving for good reviews only. And so I'd hand the little piece of paper with the website. I'm like, okay, here's the survey. Just it's 3 to 5 questions. And if you give me anything less than a 10, you're getting a crop haircut next time. And it was just cutting up, right? Like it was just joking.
Right?
And
Yeah,
again, I know who to
right,
say that to and who I can't say that
right.
to. But
You wouldn't say that to
um
somebody who was really mad that
oh,
day, for
heavens
sure.
no, I wouldn't even
Read the
given them
room.
the option to take that survey, but but surveys is huge. In fact, very recently, I got it was, top 5 hairstylists in South Dakota just based on Google reviews alone. So
Really?
it was not a nominated, it wasn't a voted thing, it truly was just based on my clients' reviews.
You got that
Yeah,
award?
yeah,
Good for you.
yeah,
How did I not
thanks.
know this?
I don't know because it was all over Facebook.
Well, okay, I will say probably the last couple months I've tried to pull back
Which is
social
not
media
a
because
bad
I
thing.
just felt like I needed like a social break.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
okay,
No, good on you
fair
for
enough.
it. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No,
I'm gonna
don't
go like that
apologize.
post after
Yeah.
this.
But getting that helps, and I've had actually
Yeah.
several people just in, like, the Spearfish community Facebook page currently, or recently, I should say, someone had asked, "Where's a good place to get a haircut?" And all of my clients showed up and were like, "Beards and Shears, go see this girl, MiKayla, yada, yada." And I don't know if that person that created the post ended up booking, but in one day, I had 3 people who would come in
Awesome.
and I asked, "Where did you hear about my shop from?" And they said, "Oh, somebody asked and I was reading the comments and you were the one and I saw your reviews." And so that's a huge way to help. But if you are not my client, but you know someone
Yeah.
whose hair I cut, telling someone else about it even is just, but anyway.
Right. No, I love that. I think, like I said, too many people think that they have to support you monetarily or book
Yeah.
an appointment. And
Yeah.
there's so many other ways that
Oh,
you can support
so
small
many.
businesses. I always see that I don't know, there's a ton of like images, memes, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call them, that go around and it usually starts out kind of around like after Thanksgiving area and whatnot, is all these ways you can support a business.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's like it's all free
Yes.
of different ways.
Yeah.
We need to share that more often, not
No,
just around
for
the
sure. No, I
holidays.
agree completely.
All right. So this is what most people call the favorite part. This is probably going to stress you right the hell out. So these are going to be fun and rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Okay. So you got to answer fast.
'Kay.
Don't think too much. Coffee or cocktail?
Coffee.
What's your guilty pleasure song you play when no one's in the shop?
Share. Anything share.
I love it.
And also when people are in the shop. Go on.
Totally fun. If you could cut hair for any celebrity, living or dead, who would it be and why?
George W. Bush. And I say that because
I'm like, you went from Cher to George W. Bush. Like, how did that even happen?
okay. Okay. So dad is very recently retired from the Secret Service. He
Okay.
was on 43's detail. After he, you know, post president. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So he had a work Christmas party for his agents and their families got to go. So we all went to his house.
That's
And
awesome.
I could not stop staring at the hairs in his ears and his eyebrows, and I have held on to that for 13 years. And I just wish so badly that I could be the one to cut his hair and then to get rid of the
Well,
excess hair.
do you still, I don't know if he still lives in the same place, but if you get his address, maybe you could just send him one of those little hair things.
Well, I'd asked my dad, I said, "Dad, You gotta get me in on this, come on.
That's amazing.
I haven't stopped thinking about that since.
I still love how the conversation just pivoted from sharing to diversity.
That's also how my brain works.
I love it. That's why I love you. All right. What's your go-to local restaurant for comfort food?
Probably Graps.
Okay. What's one thing people don't know about you that they should?
Oh, that is the hardest one. Um, oh, now I'm gonna think way too hard about it. One thing that people don't know about me that they should is that I am a closet purple freak. And
That you like the
I
color
do,
purple?
but it's not my favorite color. But my purse is purple, my phone is purple, my scarf is purple, my coat is purple, my car used to be kind of purple,
Like, how did I
my
never
wallet
notice
is
this
purple. I
either?
know.
But I
S
didn't. Now that I'm looking back, I'm like, your car was purple.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, wow.
yeah.
I need
But
to
I
watch
am, like,
it.
more drawn to that color, but if you ask me what my favorite color is, it is not purple.
Have you ever had your colors done? I only asked that because I went to my chiropractor this morning and he was wearing like the same salmon color I am. And he's like, today must be the day for salmon.
I
Like,
love that.
I was like, that's funny. And he goes, yeah, my sister, like, she kind of has a side gig where she does the colors for people. So that's kind of a new modern thing, I think, where they put the color swatches in front of you and they
Yes.
tell you whether you look better in like, the blacks or whether you're a
Uh-huh.
spring or a fall or something like that.
I've
Have you ever
seen
had
that
that done
trend.
before?
No, but we did
You
have
need
to do
to.
it in beauty school,
Okay.
to see which colors went well with skin tones and things like that. So I know that I'm more gold than silver, although I almost wanted to die when people were like, "Oh yeah, gold is definitely her color." I'm like, "No, I hate
Right.
gold." But so I know warmer tones, but outside of that, that's all
As you're wearing like gold, 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 gold,
Yeah.
gold. Like, you look fabulous.
I've learned. I've
So if
grown.
we have any color people that are listening to the podcast, we need to get them booked because I would love
Yes.
to show people like what that whole process is.
Yeah.
Totally went off on a tangent. So much for rapid
Okay, but
fire.
stand by because
Right.
that personality test that we did
Oh yes.
for the
We
orientation
were
last year.
twins.
Yeah, for sure, which was
Pretty
expected.
yeah.
But talking to a friend of mine, there's certain things about people and their favorite color. So if your favorite, I can't remember exactly what he said, but essentially, if your favorite color is blue, you're going to be one that wants to kind of fly under the radar. You're just going to kind of go with the flow of things. If your favorite color is green, you have a lot more of an opinion. Oh my gosh, but that does kind of still back with the personality thing, doesn't it?
Does.
But purples and yellows and all of the other colors, it says something about you specifically if that is your favorite color.
Well, I'm gonna have to research this. I'm going down the rabbit hole.
I don't like
I got a couple hours this afternoon. One day.
it.
For those of you who are listening, we are orange or what it depends on what color test you took
Yeah.
because when I took them in the past, I was always a red.
Mhm,
And the color test that we did for the chamber when we did our orientation, we were orange.
mhm,
And that kind of just means that you jump in and you figure it out as you go. Whereas like green is very analytical, like
mhm,
they
very
really have to
down to
look
earth.
at all of the details and things like that. Yeah. And then the one now I'm kind of confusing them because the first one that I did, yellow means like you want to just give everybody a warm hug. And then blue was where you just want to have all the fun.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that's how mine were. So it was red was just jump in, figure it out, get
Uh-huh,
it done.
uh-huh.
Green was analytical, yellow hug, and blue was fun. And so I always tested red first and then blue second. And I was like, that makes so much sense to me because I'm like a work your ass off type of person
Right.
and then have fun.
Sure.
So work hard, play hard. Like
Yeah.
that's always kind of been my motto. And so it totally made sense for me. But then I know when we did the color test for our
I think
chamber
ours
thing, it was
was
just a little bit
red
off.
and yellow, but it was
Yeah.
similar
I
enough.
think
The
the yellow
category still
words.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
category still held, but the
Yeah.
color that it was associated with was slightly different. But mine
Yes.
was split exactly evenly down the middle, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that for a long
I
time.
know we talked about that for a while. I love it. Oh, okay. Finally, what's your personal definition of Black Hills life?
Um, personal definition of Black Hills life
Yeah, like what it's like to live.
is spiritual growth, um, stability, I don't know if this is
I love
any of
that.
the things that you're asking for.
It can be
Just
anything you
like
want.
the
It's your
words.
definition, not mine.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, I would say all those things. Simplicity. I've learned to really embrace and love the simple aspects of life and not to overcomplicate everything.
Yeah.
I tend to overthink every single thing that goes through my brain, and it's not a thing here as much
I
anyway.
think that goes with our color personality too, though, because
Yeah.
when I lived in a bigger city, I my anxiety was always
Oh
like a
my
level 10. Like
gosh,
I was
yes.
always just on edge.
Yeah.
And then you come back to this slower pace of life and you're just like, okay, I feel like I can breathe. I feel like I can take some time to process what
Yeah.
just happened instead of like, you know, you run into something and then it's like, oh gosh, and then something else happens
Yeah.
and something else. And it like domino effects. Whereas
Yeah, for
here it's like you
sure.
have some time to breathe in between and it kind of brings you back down and puts you in homeostasis.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I noticed even flying into big cities, see the city lights from the window landing, and I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh
Yeah.
God. But then coming back to Rapid, and you're like, there's one light, there's another light,
Yep.
there's another one. And it just is like, oh, it's kind of exactly that feeling like, oh, I can breathe. I can let
Yeah.
my shoulders kind of slump down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I love that.
Mm.
So, what advice would you give to someone thinking about opening a business in the Black Hills area?
Do it.
There's that red or orange. Just do it and figure it out.
Just
You
do
got
it.
this. Sorry for all you greens listening. We don't have a spreadsheet for you.
Advice for people wanting to open a business in the Black Hills is, I guess be methodical, but don't, don't let it hold you back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to work out or it's not going to work out. So just do
And
it.
you won't know
Figure
until
it
you
out.
try. Yeah.
Exactly.
And get involved in your community and
Yeah.
rely on the community members to support
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Where can listeners find you online to book with you, or where can they follow you on social media?
Social media is I have a Facebook and an Instagram, and it's Beards and Shears LLC. Um, Online is www.vagaro.com/beards and shears. And from what I've understood, there is at least one other beards and shears in the country. So make sure you click on the appropriate one, not in Georgia. um,
Does it have the picture on there? Because we know that you've got like a skull with beard
I
hair.
don't.
Okay.
There is
I will drop the
something.
link too. Like I will put it in the comment section of the podcast
Groovy.
and the
That's
YouTube channel too.
perfect.
So that way everybody can just click the link and that'll make it easy.
Awesome. Yeah,
Love
appreciate
that.
you.
Absolutely. If you could leave listeners with one message about chasing your dreams, community, or good hair, what would it be?
Read that one more time. The
If
good hair threw me off.
I thought it would. If you could leave listeners with one message about chasing your dreams, community, or good hair, what would it be?
Um, this is something that I've had to work on a lot myself lately is leaning on others and being able to and that's probably what I would say is allow yourself to lean on others. And then the red in me is like, and then always have a backup plan. Um or maybe that's the yellow side, I don't know. But that's probably what I would say. Just yeah.
It's great because honestly, we just live in such a small community that I think that people come here and they just think that they're not going to be embraced or they think that they can't open a business here because they're not from here and people won't
Right.
support them. And you've proven today, time and time again, that that's just absolutely not true.
Yeah.
Because as moving up here from the South, and I mean, it's hard to get into you now. Not that it's hard. I mean, I can still get in
Right.
usually
Right.
within the week or
Yeah.
even a couple of days.
Yeah.
But I just mean that, like, you're not struggling for
Sure.
business.
Yeah.
You're staying busy. And so the locals clearly don't give a crap flying where you're from.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they just want to support you for you.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I think having something that kind of sets you apart is
yeah.
smart, right?
Yes.
Because I know that Bernice does it by appointments, and I think she might be the only one that does. I know there's a guy in Spearfish that does it by appointments. Otherwise, every other barbershop is walk in and wait,
Yeah.
and that is hard.
That is hard. Yeah, especially like I have 3 small kids.
Yeah.
Well, not small anymore.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that anymore as my man child is 6'2", but it's hard to just sit there for hours
Yeah.
to try to wait to get in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that. All right. Well, do you have anything else that you want to add today?
The only thing that I will add is, I said this in one of the board meetings kind of recently. I counted a couple of years ago how many times I've moved. I've moved 23 times in my life, and I have never felt content anywhere. I've always had that kind of, I don't want to say an itch, but kind of like that nagging, voice in
Yeah.
the back of my head that's like, okay, where's it going to be next? Where are you going to pick up and go to next? And when I first moved out, or not first moved out here, when I came out here to visit my mom, we drove up from Dallas. So it was a 2-day drive. And when I got back into the Texas border, like we finally entered into the state of Texas again, I was like, I could turn around and make that drive all over again if that means I could go back right now. There's something there's something pulling here, and I don't, like I said, I don't know how to describe it, but people that have lived here and then move away and come back, there is something about this place that is so magical,
Yeah.
and I wish I could put my finger on it, but you can't.
Yeah. No, I completely feel that pull too because I was born and raised here, but I think we moved away. Well, once was for college, another job. So we've left 5 times and we've come
Yeah.
back every single time. And then this
Yes.
last time that we came back, I finally just looked at my husband and I was like, this is like forever home.
Yeah.
Like if we do move, and if I say that, my kids just scream at me. But I said, if we do move, it's because I really love the area, like out on Highway 34 as you're driving towards Aladdin.
Yeah.
And I really love the space in between Belle Fourche and Spearfish.
Sure.
Like those are my 2 areas. The only other place that I would maybe consider is
Mhm.
maybe Whitewood.
Yeah, oh, Whitewood is
But I
sweet.
wouldn't wanna pull my kids out of the school district
Sure.
here. So, like, that would be kinda and we do have open enrollment, but I also don't wanna drive from Whitewood to Belle and back
That
every day.
would, yeah.
So yeah, I think once you kinda come to this community and you set just a little bit of roots here,
Mhm.
you're gonna be stuck. And if you
Mhm.
leave, you're gonna be like,
Why did I do
"Yep,
that?
I'll be back."
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what we tell people now as they leave. We're like, "Okay, we'll see you when you get back."
Yeah,
It's not goodbye, it's see you later.
that's so true.
All right. Well, MiKayla, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Oh,
So
thank
sorry about all the technical difficulties that y'all don't even know happened before we got
It was
started.
pre-entertainment.
Yeah. And you got to see how shaky is
Yeah.
because I can't figure out technology to save my life. All right. Well, until next time, you guys have a great day.